Hey guys, what the heck is up? Welcome back to my channel and to another freaking video. You guys can tell by the title that this is my 4-month update on Tirzepatide, and it is a little bit delayed. I cannot even lie, I am like almost in my 6th month. But also you can tell by the title, I gained weight in this last month, and I feel like it would have been so easy for me to just pretend that I was busy and that I missed a month update. But I wanted to share this month, most importantly, because I have been on my GLP-1 journey since the very end of like the last couple days of January 2023, and I have showed all of the highs, the occasional lows, my switching of medications, my switching of providers, side effects, all of that stuff. And I don't think it would be fair to myself, authentic to myself, or fair to you guys if I just like went radio silent for a month and then came back next month with like a weigh-in low, hopefully. So here I am to discuss that, but before we get into it, I have my nice little Trader Joe's like apple cider drink here. It's not like I'm drinking a claw right now. I mean, I wish I was, but I use MD as my telehealth provider. I have them linked in my description always if you guys are looking for some sort of telehealth provider. They do semaglutide, the Tirzepatide. They provide prepaid labs, which I have preached this in every video. I feel is so important. They're affordable. They don't make you pay for like an appointment. And there's so many positive things I could say about them. If you are currently using semaglutide through a different provider and you switch over to them and provide proof, you get your first month free. And I'm not required to talk about them on YouTube, but I just always like to mention where I'm getting my medication because I've been doing it through them for so long. Now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, when I ended my 3-month update on Tirzepatide, I was feeling so excited because I had lost like, what, 2.3 pounds in the last week. And I was about 68-ish pounds down, give or take, a little more, a little less. That's where we were at. And I was feeling so excited, rightfully so. It was my biggest loss on 1 week with my Tirzepatide journey and all of this stuff. And then the next week, so I was down 2.3 pounds, and then literally days after I recorded that, I got on the scale and I was 6.6 pounds heavier. And I know why, and I'm going to explain that to you again, why I feel it's so important to like talk to you guys about this, because weight loss journeys are so up and down, and there's goods and there's bads, and your body's doing things inside that are going to reflect on the scale that's not real weight, if that makes sense. Like, there's no way. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't go on vacation. I didn't go on a binge. I didn't do anything outside of normal, outside of start birth control, which normally I wouldn't share that, but there is a reason, and it goes back to this weight loss thing. And so I just kind of like, it all ties together. But just, I know sometimes you see that on TikTok as well. I see that on people's weight loss journeys or stuff like that outside of GLP-1 related, that they're like, I went on vacation and I gained 10 pounds. And I'm like, if you just let your body do its thing for a couple days and get back into it, like, you didn't. It's so hard to gain that much weight in such a short amount of time. Like, me gaining 6.6 pounds in a few days is just not real. It's just not. I mean, the scale it is, but like, that's not real, you know? And so that was on me. And even though I know that it's not real, it's hard not to struggle with it and not to get frustrated with it, because when you're on a weight loss journey, and sometimes it's hard to not focus on the scale and you see yourself going one way and not the other, and you already have so much more weight you want to lose, it can just be discouraging. So even though we'll dive into it, and why I'm sharing it is just to like remind you guys that your body is going to do things, and it doesn't mean that you did anything wrong in your journey. I'm just sharing all of my emotions with it. So I usually inject into my arms. I do very rarely, like this past week, which I'll talk about in my month 5 update, I injected into my leg. I would say I do like arm, and then change it up, just because with injections you're supposed to be doing that. I am on 0.45. I could max out. I just really am trying not to, in full transparency. So the first thing I put in my notes after kind of like reflecting was, this month was extremely difficult for me. However, that's why I feel this month is so important for me to share, even though I'm dreading it. This was the first month that I had gained while on this medication. I started birth control, and this is where my struggle becomes in. I started birth control due to diaphragmatic endometriosis, presumed, and the first part of that is to treat it with the pill to kind of start figuring that out. That's where it gets hard because I feel like I've lost weight and I'm finally advocating for my health and things that doctors dismissed prior and all of that. And so in my head, what I've been struggling with is like, I lost weight. I've lost almost 70 pounds. Like, I'm doing amazing, and I'm brave enough and not scared to go into the doctor and be like, I've had this chronic pain and you guys didn't used to listen to me. I've lost weight. This pain is still here. Help. And they're finally listening, and they're finally open to talking to me about it. And then because of that and because of the treatments, I temporarily gained weight. And so it's just been like, it's real. It's so real, but something that I've been struggling with a lot mentally. I remained binge free. If you guys are new, I've struggled with binging forever and ever, and that is like my biggest win on this journey, is just remaining binge free for what, a year and a half now, maybe a little bit longer, which is a huge win no matter what the scale is saying. And I've gotten myself to a place where I can feel confident enough to advocate for my health, which is a non-scale victory, and I always preach, are equally, if not more important than the scale victory. So that's kind of where my head was at starting this video. And who would have thought I would be like so raw and real on the internet and talking to a camera? It's crazy. So week 13, my first week of month 4, I was on 0.45. Didn't really feel too different, at least in the beginning. I started the birth control, and honestly, I started my birth control a little bit more early than the doctor recommended, so emotionally I was like going crazy in my head. And so I feel like, again, it's such a win that I didn't binge. Like, I feel like this update is just going back to the non-scale wins and stuff like that. But I stayed in my deficit the entire week, and that within the first couple days alone, I was 3.6 pounds heavier. And that just shows you how much your body changes in a week. I did nothing outside of just be a girl, put some things in my body. And I also want to mention on that I am on a very specific birth control that's super low in things, because I do struggle with my weight, and my provider knows that. That was one of my concerns with treating this, which is terrible. My concern for treating my chronic pain that I've had forever is like, I don't want to gain weight, but I am on one that's not supposed to do that. Normally I need to be better, and I think this is a reminder for all of us. I feel like it's hard not to be triggered by things like the scale, and just remind yourself, like, in this journey, it's okay to just like focus on yourself, let the medicine do its thing, and just not get on the scale, especially when you know it's probably not gonna end well for you. Week 14, I injected into my stomach. It's usually my least favorite injection spot. I mentioned that earlier in this video, and again, I started that week off 6.6 pounds heavier. So in between week 12 and 13, I went up 3.3, and then I went up another 3 by the start of week 4. So you can tell that, like, week 14, sorry. You can tell in that week my body was just going through it. Between starting birth control, being on a period, a weekend at the lake, things happen, it's okay. Trying to be a little bit optimistic. I could easily, again, not mention this, pretend this isn't a thing, but I think it's really important to know that weight loss is not linear for us at all, especially when it's a long journey, right? Like a year and a half in, like not every week, not every month is gonna be perfect, even with GLP-1 medication. And I talk about this a lot with people in my life who are on it, and they're like, it just stopped working for me, or like, I'm at a plateau. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it's a tool. Like, it's a miracle tool. I love it, and I'm so grateful. But like, you have to put in work, and eventually your body is gonna get used to it. And if you're not changing other things, then like, yeah, you're gonna have a couple weeks probably where you're like, is this working? A reminder for myself and you guys that this journey is not linear, even when you're on the medication. If you go a month or two without losing, if you gain, like, it's a tool, it's not there, like, I don't know. This video, man, this video. And there's, again, no possible way that I gained 6.6 real pounds in a week. And so start of week 15, I was already back down to being 2.6 pounds heavier than my lowest weight. So math, is that 4 pounds lost in between the week 15 or 14 and 15? So by doing nothing different, again, your body just adjusting, because he or she, a body, they're great, and they're gonna do what they need to do. I injected into my arm. This is when I started noticing GI issues, feeling bloated, very similar to how I used to feel on my injection days with semaglutide. When I started semaglutide and higher dosages I got, it was like I just felt the first couple days after my injection like I had a rock in my stomach that you could just I felt so uncomfortable, and I've noticed that again almost every week since week 15, and I think that's just, of course, going up in your dosages, your body adjusting to that. Obviously my body's been doing a lot of that this last month, but I definitely noticed I have had more bloating and things like that around injection day. And then to end this update, week 16, it was a really hard week for me with personal things in the family. I was a little sick, very nauseous, very nauseous. I don't know if that was from the injection or what. I'm thinking it was because the bloating coming in, the nauseousness, it's like the exact kind of stuff I would feel as I up my dose on semaglutide. So I think that's where that was. And I ended the month 1.8 pounds heavier. So really at the end of the day, I didn't gain that much in month 4, but it was still a gain, and you can tell that this month was a struggle for me. And we are sitting a little bit lower than this update. I don't want to like dive into it too much because we have another update in a few weeks. And so everything is good. My medicine is so amazing. I still don't really have food noises. They're there a little bit more than they were in the beginning of my journey, but they're not anything crazy. Like I said, binge free, feeling really happy, reminding myself, and this is so good. This is life, this is learning. The scale is not always gonna be perfect. So I'm really grateful for this last month because it did put some challenges that are just reality into my life and into this journey, and just, I'm proud of myself for getting through it and being positive, and I'm more like, all right, let's continue on versus like giving up. So that is kind of it for this update. I hate that I'm coming on here and not giving like a success story this month, but my journey has been successful. I'm here to be relatable, to help people, to share my story, and so I hope that this was something some of you appreciated, and this wasn't like an annoying pity party. If it was, hopefully next month we'll have some more fun things. But that is it, guys. I'm gonna try to get this up like now, like when this is done, like I'm going to my computer. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you so soon for another video. Good, bye.